Hey everyone, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Today, like I said, we had mentioned last week that we were going to be having guest hosts, and today's guest host is going to be Kwadi. Kwadi was supposed to be a member of the Big Blue team, and well, because of other things falling out a little bit, he taken a little sabbatical, and 8 months later, he is coming back. Kwadi, why don't you say hello and introduce yourself?
Hey guys, how y'all all doing? I am a huge Giants fan, been a Giants fan my entire life, but just so excited to be talking about Giants football here with you guys during the COVID-19 virus outbreak. Here we go.
Yeah, I never heard of that. Is that something new that's been coming around?
Yeah, I know.
I'm just joking. What we're going to do is today we're going to have a couple topics.
Yep.
Today's topic that we are going to start with is Leonard Williams and the franchise tag.
Yeah.
What do we think, Kwadi? Leonard Williams right now is eating up space for, since we had tagged him. We are pretty much running out, if not out of cap space for the 2020 season. We have that additional space if we rescind the tag. What are your thoughts about keeping Leonard Williams or dumping him?
Well, you know what? I mean, here's a couple of quick thoughts on it, and more questions than thoughts. The first question is, how do you feel? Do you think that DG David Gettleman basically FT'd him, so kind of to save face because we had given away those draft picks and everybody thought, what a harebrained move. Why would we give away all these draft picks?
Well, my thing is, and evidently you haven't watched a lot of online Big Blue videos, we are not Leonard Williams fans. We think that Leonard is going to be overpaid for his half a sack last year. Yep. He is. People say that he improved the Giants' run defense, but the Giants' run defense went from giving up 4 yards a carry to 3.5. And if you broke down his 8 games, we only had a negative 3-yard difference with Leonard Williams on the field. So we're going to give him $16 million. I think the same thing you thought, that Leonard Gettleman basically is trying to save his butt by tagging him, trying to get him at a lower price. But in free agency or the draft, we still need an edge. And I have a concern that they think that Leonard Williams is going to be that presence on the edge that we currently do not have right now.
Yeah, and I, we're surprisingly agreeing with each other today. That
shockingly,
that doesn't always happen with us, but yeah, I mean, I think we're on the same page. I read a lot of the same reports. I watched them. I mean, my feeling overall is when you have a team that was collectively as bad as we were, everybody,
the last 3 years,
the last 4 years. So when you talk about and think about paying anyone big dollars, I just have a hard time with it. I agree with you. I didn't think he did a whole heck of a lot as far as pass coverage. So you're playing with a guy that can't play all downs. He just can't. He can't play. He can't be on the field. He literally can be formationed off the field. So when you talk about giving guys like that big money, and what I mean by formation off the field, let's explain that, because I've seen that a lot around. I don't think everyone really understands what that means. It means this: if we pull out, if the offense goes into a passing formation, we have to consider whether or not this guy should be on the field, right?
Well, the idea of Leonard Williams even coming out of college was that he is going to be a defensive end. He is going to be a rusher. And what people are saying from last season was, well, we got more pressure on the quarterback when he was on the field. O'Shane Ximenez, started playing better when we signed Leonard Williams. But Dexter Lawrence started playing better. But the people seem to not take into consideration the fact that those gentlemen are rookies. And you know what? Rookies progress during the season.
That's a great
So
point.
it's not the fact that it could be Leonard Williams, but it's also the fact that they could have just started progressing. They started filling into their positions.
Yeah, it's tough to say. And you know what? Listen, I'll dial back here because I have come to some degree, not completely and totally, but to some degree to start to trust David Gettleman. I mean, these guys know football. They get paid a hell of a lot of money to get the job done. So maybe they saw something, but that whole, franchise tag on Leonard Williams to me felt awfully like a cover up. And I just didn't. I guess the question is, did I like the deal? No, I don't think I liked it. I think there's
so you don't like giving up a 3 and a 5 or a 3 and a 4 if we sign him.
No, it's a 3 and a 4 if we sign him.
If we sign him, it's a 3 and a 4. It's a 3 and a 5 if we let him walk. And then they're saying it's a 3 and a. Well, no, it'd still be a 3 and a 5 or a 3 and a 4.
So I guess leading back into question. So now, would the franchise, does the franchise tag constitute a signing? You
Uh,
know?
you know what? I believe it doesn't, because they said if we signed him at a certain period of time, no matter what that period of time was, we would only have to give up the 3 and the 5. We'd have to look into a little bit more in depth on how that works. But like I said, because I'm also don't really know with the new collective bargaining agreement how that's going to go into effect. But
Right.
I believe we'll probably end up giving up a 3 and a 5, or maybe like I actually will probably end up giving up a 3 and a 4 for Leonard Williams.
I mean, again, so, do I like the deal? Absolutely not. The more I think about it, the more I hear about it, especially with 4. Listen, I think there's, with the number of holes that the New York Football Giants have, the number of things we need to get accomplished this offseason, I think giving up 2 picks, 2 players, a 3rd round pick, which you get a lot of great players out of the 3rd round. You hear a lot about those guys.
But a lot of people say that it's a crapshoot even taking a 3rd round player or a 5th round player because of the fact that Leonard Williams is an established commodity. And he did have one Pro Bowl season.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I hear you on that. It's a crapshoot, and you really don't know.
Listen, I'm not defending Leonard Williams.
Yeah.
I think we should have left him on the side of the turnpike, because I just never understood the trade, and I'm like you, as I think Gettleman is trying to save face. I'm not a huge Gettleman fan, but I think that putting our trust right now in Gettleman is going to be more of an issue than anything else, and that's what concerns me. Because as you were saying, you got to trust Gettleman, but if you take a look at Gettleman's track record going back to Carolina and take a look at his free agency class, which we did a whole video on, he does not have a wonderful track record for free agency. He had one good season, which was the 15-1 season in Carolina where they went to the Super Bowl, that he picked up marginal players that played well, but beyond that, he really has not shown anything in reference to signing free agents.
Yeah, so his ability to evaluate over the years, it's really not great. It hasn't been great.
Now, I think he could draft. I'll give him that. I think his last 2 drafts are going to produce players.
Yeah.
But I can't see it. But going into free agency, let's segue into that topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
The question to me is the Giants boom or bust in free agency.
Right.
Now, I'll give you my perspective, and I think everyone that watches the channel and bashes me and leaves nasty comments will know what my perspective is on free agency.
Hey, hold on a second. Hold on. Let's talk about that, because I've read some of the comments. I haven't seen anybody bashing you.
Well, there are people that bash me. You have to go through all of them. There are people that
bashers.
Yeah, but you know what? Like I said, we enjoy all comments. We never delete any comments. Unless, like I always tell people, unless they're derogatory towards me personally, my family, whoever guest we have on the, at the time, we leave all comments up, because and we always say we're an open and honest forum. We want everyone's opinion. Yeah. And my opinion is we are going to go bust in free agency. If you take a look at the players that we signed, James Bradberry, I am a huge James Bradberry fan. We did a video that even said the Giants will sign James Bradberry, because we had a gentleman in Carolina that works in the league tell us he was going to get signed, and people bashed me during that as well. But he did get signed. He is a good cover corner. We've said it before. He got to live with his warts, but he is a fantastic tackler. And I think he's going to add to a young secondary. He's going to be the young veteran that Janoris Jenkins was never going to be. To actually help Beal, help Baker, help Love, help Valentine, help even Grant Haley. I like that signing. It's a short deal. It's front loaded. So, we can move forward on that. But if you go into his other signings, Blake Martinez, everyone, some people are excited about, some people aren't. Everyone wanted Corey Littleton. Corey Littleton went for $1.75 million more a year to the Raiders. The problem was Littleton wanted to stay on the left coast. That's what it was. He wasn't coming to the Giants. So we went with Martinez, but to me, Martinez, it's a 2-down linebacker. Yes, he's a tackling machine, but the problem is if you actually watch the film, and he makes a lot of his tackles 7 to 9 yards down the field, which means that he is absorbing hits. He is not delivering hits. Right. And then I'll just run, like I said, the statistics his last 2 years, 155 tackles, 144 tackles, no interceptions, and he's had 3 sacks and 10 sacks. 3 sacks and then 5 sacks. So to me, he is not going to be that 3-down linebacker. He's not a coverage guy. And people will say to me, well, he is a coverage guy. And I ever know everyone loves Pro Football Focus. So I went to Pro Football Focus and figured it out. 2017, he was ranked 24th against the run, 49th in pass coverage. 2018, he was 17th against the run. And he was he was actually 8th in pass coverage, which was a good year, which was a fantastic year. Last year, he was 35th against the run and 21st in pass coverage. So the last 2 years, he has had issues covering the tight end. Now, every Giant fan knows, and you know, Kwadi, because we screamed it all over, cover the tight end. Stop the slant down the middle of the field, please. Please. I think they should have put speed cones so people would run over him. I just don't think and don't see his athleticism as enough to cover. Right, and then you look at the Kyler Flackler. I love Kyler Flackler. So I mean, he had one season of 10 sacks. His other seasons were 2 sacks, 3 sacks, and last year had 1 sack. His big season 2 years ago was the 10.5 sacks. The Green Bay Packers thought so much of him and his talents after that 10.5 sacks. They not only drafted Rasheed Gary, number 12, they also signed Darius and Preston Smith, the linebackers. So you thought so much of his talent that you signed 3 other linebackers to replace him. And I understand that their lineage to Patrick Graham with the 1 year he coached the linebackers in Green Bay. And that's what people are saying. Well, he coached the linebackers. He knows them in their system. We don't even know what the system is going to be yet. No one said anything yet. We have no idea what we're running. You know, it worries me because it's like, are we going back to the James Betcher idea where we're signing retreads that James Betcher knows? I mean, outside of Marcus Golden, every Arizona retread we signed sucked.
Right.
So I get worried that we're heading back that way. And then Cam Fleming. I took a lot of crap on the Cam Fleming video because I mentioned that I had spoken to someone in East Rutherford that said that he was going to start or he's going to compete for the Mike Remmer's position on the line. This is a guy that has played 70-something games, has only started 25. He was with the Patriots during the Super Bowl. He started in the Super Bowl. The Patriots thought so much of him, they waived him the next season. So then he went to Dallas, signed a 1-year contract, played well. Then he signed another 2-year contract with Dallas, and Dallas thought so much of him again, they didn't pick up his option.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing where people are getting excited. Well, people are like, well, he's going to be a versatile piece to the line. Yeah, if he's going to be that versatile piece, I'm all down for it. But if you're going to try to start his ass, this guy has only started due to injury, never beat anybody out.
And what are we paying this guy? What are we paying him?
We're paying him $4.5 million.
So what is that? Is that starter money or?
No, and that's the thing. The same with Kyler Flackler. We're not paying these guys starter money. And I even brought that up in a couple of videos. But we had limited cap space after we tagged Williams, after the Bradbury signing, and after the Martinez signing. So then we also go into our backup quarterback situation. We signed Colt McCoy. Right. I personally like Colt McCoy. I've always loved him. I was at his pro day in Texas, and I told the story about how Mike McCarthy thought that he had a better pro day than Sam Bradford. And, of course, Sam Bradford went number 1 overall. But his career never panned out. I mean, hell, he got benched from Brandon Wheat in his 3rd season.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's better than Alex Tanney. He's more of a stable influence. And I think that if Daniel Jones, God forbid, goes down for a couple of games, he can at least move forward for us. And then, of course, we signed the guy that's the rugby player. You know, he's basically just a special teams gunner. So I don't even deal with that. But to me, I think we had so much, and then we had so much cap space, we had so much hope and so much potential to get that edge rusher that we did nothing. And I get worried that we went linebacker, twice in free agency, that we're going to turn around, pass up Isaiah Simmons, and then go for someone like Andrew Thomas or another tackle or somebody else. So that's why I personally think that we went bust in free agency. 1 good signing, 1 okay signing. 3, we have to. It's like anything else on our roster. We have to hope and wait and see what's going to happen. And that's not a way to build a team.
But that's been the Gettleman's way. It's like he's got he's got a way to stay employed, doesn't he? It's every.
He's got pictures of somebody.
You know what I mean? He really. He's been around the league a long time. How long? What's it been? 25, 30 years? He's been around forever.
Well, yeah, but he was with the Giants during the Super Bowls. Like I said,
Right.
he did well in Carolina. He
Yep.
did well drafting, and like I said, he got him to the playoffs and three NFC championships and everything. So I mean, it's he's got a track record, but the problem is he's also got a track record of alienating players like Josh Norman.
Yes.
And a couple other players in Carolina. So
I recall some of the articles from back then. Yeah, and I even recall. I don't know if it was. I don't know who it was. One of their. Gosh, was it? I'm thinking. Who's their wide receiver down in Carolina?
Steve Smith.
Yeah, didn't he say something about Gettleman on the way out? Like, if you're ready to.
Yeah.
Watch him treat your veterans poorly or something.
But that's the thing. Gettleman. You know what? And I don't have a problem if Gettleman gets rid of guys that are. Towards the end of their career. But like when he brought in Jonathan Stewart with the Giants to back up Barkley, I mean, that was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, that guy didn't even play. But to me, it's just the fact that we have so many holes on the roster, and we have so many people looking at it saying, if this guy plays well, and if this guy, it's a lot of as ifs on the roster, as if he does this and if he does that.
Yeah, and I remember us talking, I think it was about 6 months ago when Gettleman was making some of his moves. I forget exactly which one, but I recall you saying something to me about, but look at the cap space that had opened up as a result, right? We had tremendous cap space. And now, we're at a point here where that cap space, we have it, but we've gotten 4 players. None of them are sensational. If who's the, and when I say sensational, I mean there's no Coopers. We didn't pick up any elite guys.
We didn't pick up Clowney. We didn't even get Dante Fowler.
Exactly. We walked away. We didn't get any elite guys. And listen, look at the Patriot way. So the Patriots have proven you don't necessarily need to have elite guys, but you have some,
You have to be coached well, right. and you have to know how to play the game. And you know what? And 2 of the guys, graduated from Stanford, so they're smart guys.
Yep.
There's the Joe Judge connection between a couple of the players, but it's I was never a huge. I mean, like I said, I like the Joe Judge hire. I always said it was an okay hire. We have to wait and see. Yeah. I'm not overly excited like other people are. I'm more of because honestly, he's a special teams coach, and there is a history of special teams coaches winning Super Bowls. We become successful coaches. Look at Baltimore. Yep. But the thing is, I was a Wink Martindale fan, the defensive coordinator over in Baltimore. I really wanted Wink, and not that I'm thinking that Joe Judge is not. I mean, Joe Judge says the right things. He's energetic. I loved what he said the other day, or a couple of weeks ago, and he said, if we don't get an elite pass rusher, that's fine. As long as we sign guys that are complementary to each other and know how to play together, we can get to the quarterback that way, which was a great coach speak.
Right.
But the problem is, I'm tired of guys with great coach speak. I'm tired of Pat Shermer. I'm tired of Bob McAdoo. I mean, Ben McAdoo. I think of Bob McAdoo, the basketball player. I'm tired of Ben McAdoo. I wanted a guy. We are the Giants. We used to be the destination. We used to, when they were trying to replace Coughlin, you heard all the big names.
Yep.
But now our last 3 coaches are McAdoo, Shermer, and Judge. I mean, McCarthy turned down the job to go to the Redskins. I mean, not the Redskins. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, Rivera went to the Redskins. McCarthy guy I can understand because he went to Dallas.
Right.
Rivera turned down didn't even give the Giants a chance. He took the Redskin job. I mean, that's, to me, that I don't know.
Says a lot.
Yeah, that says a lot to me.
It says a lot, unfortunately, yeah. And I had never thought about it this way. I mean, I don't know if that's a topic for another video, but I do so far, and I'm with you. I agree with you. Look at us agreeing today. We should, what is today?
Shocking. Usually we're arguing. It's got, today's Saturday. It's got to be something with the coronavirus that we're agreeing with something.
As soon as this thing is over, yeah. But I mean, I agree with you again. I mean, what I like about Judge, and listen, just from a leadership standpoint, right? We've all either been leaders or been, led by others. You want to be able to get concise direction. And he seems really good at doing that. I mean, at the end of the day, managing and being the CEO or, of a NFL organization, which is what the head coach is to some degree. Now, he's not running all the operational stuff, but hey, the CEO isn't worried about whether or not there's toilet tissue on the bathroom.
He's got his hand in a little bit of everything.
He's got his hands in a little bit of everything. So what I like about him, I love this press conference, his initial press conference. He made a lot of good mentions, and I don't know if he even really tied it all together, but he said, look, as a special teams coach, I've got to be able to evaluate everything. And what he was saying there, and he didn't come out and say, is I don't get to be just the offensive guy. I don't get to be just the defensive guy. I don't get to just look at our special guys and our worst guys. I've got to, because I'm taking anybody at any time, and I still got to produce to be successful. We both know that. As a special teams coach, he had to evaluate everyone. He had to be able to make decisions and get an idea. So that's one thing I like, his ability to evaluate. And so, listen, and so getting back to free agency and that elite signing that I think we all wish we would have seen, listen, things happen with those guys. If you do dump everything into one guy, well, what happens if he gets hurt in week 3, week 4, week 5? Or even if he gets hurt week 12, that still means he's not going to be available. So you got to be able to, you got to be agile. And that's what I think he will be.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Let me just finish. Let me just say this. What I also love about Judge is I think that, again, that concise direction, that ability to just really take a look at the big picture and say, here's what we need to do quickly. Now, listen, I've never coached at that level, but I do know coaching on the fly from, just messing around with my kids. You got to be able to make those decisions pretty quickly, and you got to be able to have it all together. And just with running a business, that's how running a business, you got to be able to take all the information and make a decision quickly. And I think he'll be able to do it. And then in a leadership role, you got to be able to convey it to others so that they know exactly what they need to do. And that's what I think he does a great job of keeping it simple.
Well, what I liked, you actually brought up a really good point. He was about the signing of the linebackers. What if Martinez goes down? Well, I mean, right now we only have Martinez, Flackler, Carter, Conley, who's coming off the ACL. We don't know exactly what time what time frame he's going to be back in. And they're listing O'Shea and Zimenez as a linebacker, but he's more of a defensive end. So again, we haven't filled that. We haven't filled that spot, and we haven't filled it to the point to your, like you were saying. Injuries happen in the NFL all the time. So who's the next man up?
Yep.
And that's what worries me about the free agency. And like I said, I'd like everything about that with Judge, because I hate when Shermer said last year that when Betcher was having problems with the defense, Shermer said that if he is having problems and he needs me, he will come to me because he handles the defense and I handle the defense. Yeah. It's like to your point, it's like you're the CEO of the team. You have to say, no, you got to fix this. You got to fix this. We got to go out of the 3-4, go 4-3. Stop running the 3-6. We got to start doing these things. This isn't working. But like I said, I think he's got Joe. I mean, Joe Judge has got the pedigree going back from college and going back with Belichick. But like I said, I wanted a guy. I wanted a name. I wanted someone that would be, like I said, we as a team, some of our assistants, we had Tom Landry as an assistant. We had Vince Lombardi as an assistant. We had Tom Coughlin as an assistant. We had Sean Payton, Bill Belichick. We have a tree of coaches that came out of our system, and now we got Patrick and Betcher. It's like hell, bring back Kevin Gilbride. Because at least, like I said, he's throwing the ball down the field, winning some Super Bowls. But I don't know.
I don't know either, but that's a great point. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when you're the CEO or the head coach is standing up there, that's not a good answer. That's not a good answer. I don't know. I let him run everything. That means you're not in control of everything. And call me a control freak, but I've always said this. Whenever I was leading any project, you have to lead first and foremost by example. That's just coming off my head. But when you let people run and do their thing, at the end of the day, I remember being on a board of directors one time, and we needed to get volunteers. Well, one of the things you want to do is, you let people work, you let them do their thing, but you have to be able to give them some guidance. They're going to come back to you for leadership. They're going to come back to you for direction, and you got to be able to tell them where to go. And saying, "Hey, you're the little boss, the boss over there. You have your own little fiefdom. Hey, that's not going to work. You're the boss. You're supposed to have all the answers, or at least fake it.
Or at least pretend you have the answers,
or at least pretend you have the answers. But saying, "Hey, I hired this guy," and that guy never does a press conference. So if I'm a reporter, I'm pissed because I'm like, well, I don't want to hear that. You're the guy I got to talk to. Don't tell me you leave it all up to him. That's nonsense to me. So, yeah, I was never a big Shermer guy. He seemed like a nice guy. That's all I'll ever really say. And
I'll say it. I thought Shermer was a dick.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow.
100%.
You thought he was a dick? I didn't know.
I thought he was a dick. 100%. 100%. The way he would talk, he barely won any games. When it during the press conferences, when he won a game, it was like his shit didn't stink. And he was condescending to everyone. He loses a game, it was everyone else's fault but his.
Yeah.
And we went through 2 years of that.
Yeah.
And I told you from day one that was a bad hire, and we were going to regret it. Yeah, from that first preseason game we went to, sitting on the sideline at the coaches club, and I told you this is going to be bad.
Yeah. I was never a fan of him. I wanted some other guys from the Patriots. So, listen, I would have taken either of the Patriots coordinators because I just think, whenever I think about championship teams in any sport, you got to have your A1 guys, your first round guys, but you also, every championship team that I can ever think of always had an outstanding supporting cast.
Yep.
Always. Almost always. So I guess that's where I'm at with free agency. I get your grade. I agree with your grade. I do think because Gettleman has left us once again in a wait and see. So, well, he's the master of leaving the fan base in a wait and see,
we're going to have to wait and see.
Exactly. You're going to have to wait and see, which makes it a bust because there's nobody that you can point to and say, yeah, I love this guy's on-field production the last few years. There's nobody. So,
well, we're going to leave it. We are going to leave it at that because we don't want to take away all the good talk. What we're going to have to do, though, is we're going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to have Kwadi give one last thought before we sign off here at Online Big Blue. So, Kwadi, what little Kwadi tidbits do you have for us Giant fans today?
Nothing much. Everybody just, stay safe, continue to, the football season is coming. Keep your hopes up high and just can't wait for the draft. And I hope you guys are waiting for the draft as well.
I think we are. I think we all are. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And thanks for watching.